You are in the mix with D.HALL and the People's Show.
You got it locked with D.HALL on the weekend, baby. Ready?
Coming to us out of studio today in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina. He stands next to his world-famous producer, Jay York. He is the number one, undisputed, top talk show host on the air today. The voice of the People Show. Ladies and gentlemen, here is D.HALL.
Jay York production.
Good afternoon or good evening. I am your host, D.HALL. I'm trying to get squared away here. I look like I'm a little off track, but we're on. We're on now. Hope y'all doing well. Glad to see y'all. Thank y'all for coming in. Thank y'all for being a part of my show today. Let me get my chair right here. I thought I had it right, but I didn't. Thank y'all. Another Sunday. And it's a beautiful Sunday. First of all, I want to say hello to you and thank my Heavenly Father for letting me be able to come on to you today and be a part of what we normally do here on the D.HALL People Show. Before I go any further, this video is the work of talk and displaying, and this is an online talk show that educates adult audiences. Parental advisory is advised. Some things may or may not be censored. Lives are not edited for children. So I want to make sure that I get that out there, and so you be aware of what's going on here. Today, shall I say, a little different in what we do. We have a different type of guest on. Yes, hey, look, this is what we do. We bring on any and everybody, and I am glad to have this young lady on today, professional swimmer out of Charleston, South Carolina, and we're going to get ready to bring her in right now. Share the video if you would, please. I thank you so much for being a part of what we do here with me in conjunction with Jay York Productions. I thank y'all so much. Jonathan Felton, glad to see you, man. Thank you for coming on. Jonathan, man, it's always good to see you. Always good to say hello to you. And Alicia, hello to you also. Thank you for stopping in. Share the video one time if you would. Let me get ready to get started here. I got to get my guest on. Hello there. Let me switch this view up because I want to bring you. Yeah, there we go. I want to bring you in a little closer so that people can see who you are. And look, I'm glad to have you on today. Thank you for being here, part of the D.HALL People Show. Look, before we go any further, I want you to tell the people who you are and where you're from.
I'm Kathleen Wilson. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, and I swim. I swim and I swim and I swim, and it's really a pleasure to be on the D.HALL and the People Show this Sunday.
Thank you so much, and that was really nice. That was really smooth. I like that. I got some guests that's coming in right now. I want to say hello to Tony Burgess. Tony Burgess out of Spring Lake, North Carolina. He is the owner of the boxing gym and Burgess Boxing and Fitness there in Spring Lake. Thank you for coming on. Jonathan Felton, former boxer, heavyweight boxers. He is in here today. He's out of Florida. Thank him for being a part of what we do. Y'all share the video one time. We have Miss Wilson on today, and we're going to talk with her a little bit for the next 30 minutes anyway about her beginning and her constant beginning, because you're never stopping. You know what I'm saying? You're never
That's
stopping.
right.
Look, you started, because I don't know when you started, but I'm going to find out when you started. And I'm going to ask you this. Uh, look, how did you know that swimming was a passion of yours, and what age was that?
I took swimming lessons like most little kids when I was 6. I failed beginner swimming. And my
Wow.
swim instructor, she wrote that I was able to swim several strokes, but I lacked the strength and endurance to swim them for any distance. But I think I overcame that. Swam growing up. Did not swim in college because I was in a Division 3 school and I was in a music conservatory, but I swam a lot on my own. And upon getting a job down in Charleston at graduation, I had the ocean and found that's where I really belonged. I didn't belong in the pool, I belonged in the ocean, and
Wow.
began going longer and longer and longer.
Wow. Wow. It's like you say you didn't belong in the in the pool. You belong in the ocean. Wow,
With
that's
As I tell people, I swim with the big fish.
I- okay. That's nice. That's the way to put it. I thank you for sharing the video, Alicia. Thank you for so much for doing that. Um, Look, a lot of people don't know what it is to be a marathon swimmer. Tell me, what is a marathon swimmer?
Well, a marathon is defined as anything over 10,000 meters or 6.2 miles. Running and swimming do not correlate mile for mile. So, in the swimming world, a marathon is anything over 10,000 meters. And actually, 10,000 meters is a little on the short side for me. My best distances are anything over about 15 miles. So,
Wow.
I'm very accustomed to getting in and swimming all day or all night, and in some cases, all day and all night.
Oh
So
my God.
the longer, the better. And I don't care if it's salt water or fresh water, warm water, cold water. I function in all of them.
Oh my goodness. Y'all hear that? 15 miles. Look, and you know what? You love what you do. You gotta love what you
I
do.
do. Yeah.
You gotta love what you do. Um, Man, how do you stay fit for that? What do you do? I mean, to make you go 15 miles, because some of us can't even walk 15 miles. So how in the world you do it? What makes you go?
It's a lot of training. I've had a very unusual training regime all of these years in that I swim Monday through Friday very early in the morning, and it's almost 100% pool based, but I get the cumulative yardage done during the week so that I can take Saturdays and Sundays off, or in the wintertime go out and swim, in Charleston Harbor in the wintertime, which is a whole nother game. But I did that
Right.
because I had two little kids. And
Yeah.
all of those years I was raising my kids, and I also had multiple full-time jobs. So I had to get the training done in the wee hours of the morning so that I had the rest of my day, and especially weekends, because that's my avocation. My vocation is being a professional musician playing in a symphony orchestra. So
Right.
I needed to be available for weddings and performances and rehearsals during the day, and then especially weekends. So
Wow.
all that has stayed with me all of these years.
Hmm. It's
And the
interesting.
yardage is just terrible. I mean, to be a marathon swimmer, it's a really terrible life sometimes. But I
Oh wow.
love the training. I really love to get in the pool and crank out a good workout, and then get on with my day. So it's become a part of the day. It's
Part of
like
you,
going to
who you
work.
are. Yeah.
And
It's
that's right.
yeah, become a part of you and who you are and what makes you go, as far as being a marathon swimmer. And I hear or, runners and swimmers, and but you just, I mean, I was really impressed because you said it's 15 miles. I was like, wow, man,
Well,
that's
that's kind of
awesome.
short. 15 is
Oh,
kind of short.
oh, really? Well,
So,
excuse
well,
me.
a lot of people will say, "What's the longest you've ever swum?" The longest in terms of statute miles from point A to point B is 36 miles. But again, sometimes we have a tide assist or a current assist. Sometimes we're working against it, but that's the longest in mileage. The longest in time spent in the water is just shy of 21 hours when I swam from Molokai back to Oahu in Hawaii between the islands.
Wow.
And that was an all night, all day going into the second night swim.
So you just constantly just swimming,
Yes.
no breaks.
Oh, every 30 minutes. It's not really a break, but every 30 minutes I'll stop for a quick feed. And that means that my crew will toss me a bottle. And in that bottle, I have a concoction. It's a carbohydrate powder and my go-to, which is diluted grape Gatorade. In a mix, I chug probably 6 to 8 ounces, drop the bottle, they reel it in, and I keep swimming. So it's not a rest. I don't take my time and get into a lot of conversations or deep philosophical topics. I take the feed, go.
So you grab the bottle, you get the bottle, you turn the bottle up. It's not a whole lot of talking. It's a whole lot of drinking.
That's exactly right.
Holy crap! Oh my
And
god!
if there's anything that my crew needs to alert me to, that's when they pass information to me. Or if I have any questions, it's a very, very quick exchange. But these are not rest stops, it's drink and go.
So who? Okay, I noticed you said a crew.
Mhm.
So who's in the crew? Who's
Generally, well, with most all of these swims, I've either had a boat or a kayak escort. And in some cases, I've had both. When I swam around Manhattan, for example, I had a boat and a kayak to look out for me. The same with that Hawaiian swim. Sometimes, for example, in the English Channel, it's just a boat, but I'll have a pilot. Usually, that pilot has a co pilot. If there's a governing body for the swim involved, they have an observer on board. And then I have at least one person, either a friend or my husband, somebody else to go with me who knows me and can handle my needs in the water.
wow? This is y'all need to open up your ears and listen to this because this is awesome. I'm all in on this, man. I'm like diving in.
It's a wild work. I will tell you though, it's taken me to 9 countries on 4 continents. So it's been my ticket to seeing the world and meeting a lot of very, very cool people.
Wow. I want to say hello to Jay York. Jay York is the producer, the manager of the program. He's doing that. Did your intro? He's here now. I want to say hello to him. Hello to
Hey
you,
Jay.
Jay York. Wow. We were getting into this with Miss Kathleen Wilson, marathon swimmer slash musician, which we're going to get into that in shortly. Um, Look, in 1997, you swam around the Key West. What was that like? 'Cause that was your first big swim, right?
Yes, that was my
Okay.
first big swim, and it was the adventure of a lifetime. And I swore if I just got around the island of Key West, I will have done something huge, and I was done. And
Wow.
that didn't even remotely come to pass. That was the kickoff for 25 years in the sport.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And I did
Uh,
some dumb stuff out there because I was a total rookie, but learned and took advice from some of the best in the business.
right. Okay. 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 Wow. You was swimming. You went into a lot of events. Do I I so many. I looked up, and you went into so many events. Um, which one was so meaningful to you? Because you was in a lot of them. I can't go into all of them, but you was in so
Yeah.
many. Which one would really meant so? I know they all did, but you had
Well,
one that was special to you.
I've had a couple. The English Channel, obviously, because it's the English Channel. It's like winning Wimbledon or winning the Kentucky Derby. Everybody knows the English Channel. That Molokai to Oahu swim, because I conquered so much in my head that day, having to swim almost 21 hours and in and out of darkness and the jellyfish stings and how beat up I was after the swim. And then this most recent swim just 6 weeks ago, celebrating 25 years in the sport with the Sea of Galilee and doing
Wow,
the double length crossing.
wow,
It's not the hardest swim in the world, but it was a good solid effort and
yeah, yeah.
great way to celebrate 25 years.
Look, Alicia says, how many awards do you have? How many awards do you have?
Well, of course, many of these great swims, when the swim is completed and ratified and stands as a solo swim, you get, a medal or a certificate, something like that. So they're strategically placed around my house, different things. I mean, I'm looking right up now at the Strait of Gibraltar, or actually, it's over
Okay,
my shoulder, the
right.
Strait of Gibraltar. So, it's things like that. But in terms of prize money, this is not a lucrative sport. We pay mightily to be in this sport.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's
Um,
an expensive sport.
uh, J York he says the ocean has to be cold. He said, does your body temperature rise at all?
It depends on the water temperature. Now, ironically, I have suffered both hypothermia to the point where I was so disoriented they had to deadlift me out of the water, all the way to encroaching hyperthermia in this most recent swim. Surface water temperature was in the low 80s, air temperature was 103, and I started becoming a little dehydrated, just a little bit of heat exhaustion, but I was able to get into the finish before it became acute. But, in the Cook Strait in New Zealand, I was so frozen and so incoherent that it would have been a real danger to let me continue swimming. Even though it's so embedded in my DNA, I can't answer a simple question, but I can still swim.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible. To hear this is interesting to me. Because you're swimming constantly, and the water temperature and all these different things is changing. That works against you. It's not
That's
for
right.
you. You know what I'm saying?
We try to create the best conditions we can, but any swim that I'm ever going to do, I research the swim, I figure out what's important to know about that swim and plan accordingly.
Wow, great. Hey, you gotta, like I said, you gotta think ahead. You gotta have things ahead. Hello, Paul Pierce. Oh, wow. UK is in the house. Paul Pierce, he is a professional boxer over in the UK. We're gonna have him on this month pretty soon on a Sunday. Glad to have Paul on. Paul is a real good friend of mine. Thank you, Paul, for coming in so much, brother. We look to see you in a couple of weeks on live on my show out of the UK. So the UK is representing. They checking you out too. See how you doing all this good stuff. uh, um, Alicia says, did you start off being a lifeguard before before becoming a professional swimmer?
No, I've never been a lifeguard. As a matter of fact, I don't even have my lifeguarding credential. I went straight into swimming. And I will tell you, I've been going to swim practice now for 48 years, and I'm not
Wow,
tired of it, and I'll be right back in the water tomorrow at 5:45 a.m.
wow, incredible. You could. Jay says you could pass out in the water. Is that correct? You don't pass out.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct, and it's generally due to some sort of temperature issue.
Wow.
My conditioning is such that it's unlikely I would ever pass out with that. But again, back in the Cook Strait with hypothermia, that was the concern, is I couldn't perform the most basic tasks. And, a wave could have passed over my head, and that's the
Mm,
last they ever saw of me. So they made the decision to pull me out, which was absolutely correct. Disappointing, but correct. So we do have to take care. And that's why that crew was in the boat with an observer and with one or two crew members who know me, so that I can identify behaviors that aren't typical to me, which indicates I may be in trouble.
okay. Look, we got a question just popped up, and the question was, well, if she, the ladies, Alicia said, I need some swimming tips. What are the swimming tips you can give somebody? What would it be from you?
Find a good teacher. Our local pools are always a good resource. And don't be afraid. There's a tremendous problem with fear of water. I mean, I run a whole teaching program to address people with profound, anxiety and fear towards the water. But the water is our friends. Remember, we are 70% water. Our bodies are 70% water.
Right.
The water is your friend, and it will always hold you up. And once you understand how the water works, then a lot of the fear dissipates and you can learn how to swim much easier.
Okay, great tip. Y'all check that out. Y'all better listen up. 70% your body water here. You better listen. Look, you had an injury, and it was a
Yes,
bad injury,
it was a
right?
bad one. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
In 2017, I underwent an MRI. I was playing the Nutcracker actually in the pit in an orchestra, and went to play about 10 minutes into the ballet, and I felt a tendon rupture in my left shoulder.
Mm,
Fast forward, I had major rotator cuff injuries in both shoulders, and it was all these years of really hard training in the pool as a
mhm.
result, and 5,000, literally 5,000 weddings, and over 35 years in an orchestra.
Wow.
So my rotator cuffs were completely shredded. I had surgery on both sides, 10 weeks apart, and spent the next 2 years trying to recover. Was told I would really never compete again, and then have gone on to do subsequent big swims. So
Wow.
don't tell me things like that,
Wow.
because I
No.
just go do it.
Yeah. You just go get it, right?
Go get it.
Look, y'all, we're here live right now with Kathleen Wilson, marathon swimmer and musician. We're going to get into that here in just a little bit. Um, but the question just popped up, and I'm going off because the fans are just pumping in it. Anybody in your family a swimmer?
No, my siblings swam, but I'm the one who stuck with it. My husband says he's a floater. And,
Okay.
and so he's been stuck on the boat for a lot of these swims. So he's gotten to know the sport. And to his credit, he learned it from nothing. So
Wow.
to his credit, he has become a good crew member. Um,
Great. Great.
and I just keep lining them up.
Great. Great. Look, you being a swimmer. I mean, you're being a swimmer. What has it really taught you as a person? You in the ocean. When you in that ocean, what has it has it taught you anything as far as a
Oh
person?
yes, it's
Tell me.
taught me patience. You can't rush a swim. To get to point A to point B, you must take every single stroke in that distance, and there is no fast forward. So it's taught me a lot of patience, and it's also taught me to accept what's going to happen out there. It's going to be a long haul. It's not going to be pleasant. It's going to be painful, as a matter of fact. But
Mm,
persevere, get through
mm,
it, don't complain, and just stay in the present and get over to the other side and endure the cold, the marine life, the wind, whatever objects are thrown at me. Just keep swimming till there's no more water.
right. Jay York says, "Do you do any high diving off the rocks?"
Not at all. I'm not a diver at all. I'm a terrible
Okay.
diver. As a matter of fact, my start in the pool is stuck back in the 1980s. It's just
Okay.
never progressed.
Okay. Um, we're gonna step away a little bit from the swimming. Uh, you're a musician. How did that come
Yes.
about? How did that come about?
Well, these have been the two loves of my life, these parallel tracks, music and swimming. So again, like a lot of little kids, I started with piano lessons and met a harpist
Hmm.
one summer, and from that moment on switched. It's a long story as to acquiring an instrument, but I went on to earn 2 degrees, a bachelor's and a master's in harp. Um, and I've been playing at orchestras ever since.
Wow, wow! You've been playing ever since, and you do a great job. I know you do. Um, what type of music is you said orchestra? That's
Or classical, all your
classical.
your symphonies, yeah. And it's what's so funny is it's such a contrast because you think of an orchestra in this stuffy frou-frou sort of world with very very formal white tie and
Mhm.
tailcoats and gowns and
Right.
hot stage lights, and the whole public, thousands of people in a hall focused on you. And then you flip-flop to my other life, which is cold and dark and
Hmm.
very solo, and there's not a soul out to watch me swim. So I
Okay.
live these two very, very contrasting lives.
Okay. Okay. Was music your first choice, or was it swimming? Which one was who's first?
Swimming was first, and between the two, I would say that swimming still wins out. I
Okay.
love what I do. I love what I do in an orchestra and playing for untold special events. It's been very good to me because I was able to raise my own kids. I was
Right.
home when the bus pulled up to the bus stop, but there's been a very dark side to that as well. My swimming was always frowned upon in the orchestra, and I had a lot of people tell me that I wasn't dedicated enough to music, and they really disliked what I was doing and the fact that I had people watching me and people really impressed with what I was doing in the water. People,
Wow.
the musicians didn't like that one little bit.
Okay. Alicia said, "What instrument do you play? What do you
Harp,
play with?"
harp.
Harp.
Hmm.
Harp. Okay. Okay. You play the harp. Okay. All right. It's cool. It's cool. Um, this is the question I was getting ready to just ask you this myself. How do you juggle the music and the swimming? How do you get? I mean, how do you do that?
I am still lucky in that there's nothing musical ever going on in the early morning. Musicians don't get out of bed very early. So I was able to get to the pool, get my training done, even get to the weight room and lift for a while before I ever had to go to a rehearsal or play a show. And
Hmm.
that work was generally later in the day. And of course, shows are by and large on weekends and in the evenings, which is why I had that Monday through Friday training schedule. So, I'd swim during the week, and then my week as it went on would pick up musically, and then I was going great guns Thursday,
Mhm.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I tell people that I truly lived at Mach 1 for many, many years. I never had time off,
Hmm. Uh,
but they balanced really well.
Jay York says, ever thought about breaking the Guinness World Record for distance swimming? You ever thought about
Uh,
doing that?
it's the standard is pretty high. We've had some swimmers do some very, very impressive things, and they're all 30 years younger than I am.
Hmm. Okay.
So probably no Guinness World Records in store for me now.
uh, uh, Alicia says, do you play in concerts? Do you play in
Oh,
a bunch of
absolutely.
concerts? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm playing
Okay.
symphony shows and all sorts of things all the time.
Okay. Okay. Um, your your husband. Uh, I know he accepts whatever you do in open arms. Does he ever get frustrated with you sometimes?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, if I haven't been in the water, if we've had, for example, a tropical storm in Charleston and the
Mhm.
pools are shut down for a couple of days, I'm starting to get pretty antsy. He's getting pretty fed up with me. Just like, go
Mm.
put her in a pool and then she'll be tolerable again. And of
Oh,
course, most of our vacations involve a swim. So once in a while, that gets a little old and tedious.
gotcha, gotcha. Um, a swimmer coming up, and they come to you, a swimmer, just
Mhm.
starting get into it. What would you tell them to try to help them and lead them in the right direction? What would you tell
The best thing is to get with a coach and make sure your technique is as fine as it can be. And often tell people swimming is almost worse than golf when it comes to technique. It's pure technique. So make sure your strokes are in good order. And then if you want to go marathon swimming, the work is going to be very, very tough and very tedious. And most of the time you won't want to do it. But you have to. And start small. These people who start with the English Channel, what are you thinking? Learn the
them?
sport, have respect for the sport,
Mm,
and start out at low level and work your way up to the big ones.
right, right, okay, okay. Alicia said, Have you ever trained someone to swim?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Several
Yeah,
swimmers.
yeah. Tell me a little bit about this swim Is it swim
Yes, Swim
Yeah,
Calm.
tell
It's
me.
a program that I have here in Charleston, and it's designed for people with tremendous fear and anxiety towards the water, but really want to swim. For example, a woman says, I'm not allowed to watch my grandchildren because there's a pool in the backyard, and I can't go in and save them if they get into trouble. So I take those people and we work very, very carefully and very methodically, and I blow up all of the misconceptions they have about the water and
Okay,
work with them very gently in the water, turn them into swimmers.
okay, okay. That's great. You're stopping their fear.
That's right.
That's what you're doing.
And better yet, healing the fear, not managing it, but actually healing
Healing.
it because I give them the tools they need.
Right. You're educating them how to overcome that.
That's right.
Shall I say? And that's great. That's great. That's really because we all got fear, but we need to know how to, like you say, manage it or overcome it some kind of type of way. Because everybody fears water, fire, and water. People fear.
That's
You know.
right.
And those even myself. And I'm not ashamed to say, hey, I'm scared of all that water.
Bet I could get you swimming.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, um, you talked about it earlier. The float. What do you do when you float? What is that? What's the best way to do that? What is that?
A float is simply hanging in the water. Take a big breath of air and simply hang in the water. Let your arms and legs dangle and be as tension free as you possibly can. The vast majority of us float right up on the water surface. Sometimes your legs will sink a little bit, but that's usually people with very muscular legs. And once in a while, you get that oddball person with negative buoyancy who has so little body fat he or she can't stay up on the water surface and they do sink down. My son is one of them.
Okay.
And it's one of those things you simply have to accept. But the worst floaters in the world are the United States Olympic swim team because they're so lean and so dense. They all sink on
Mm,
the, they can all lay on
mm,
the bottom.
mm. Look, and I know this has probably happened to you in your, you probably It's like, wow, why did I do this? Um, was it ever a time when you were swimming that you felt like, man, what the hell am I doing? Am I gonna make this?
Pretty much every swim. Oh, I retire during every swim. I retire a couple of times during every swim.
Uh,
And sometimes it's just exhaustion. Sometimes I've been stung by jellyfish and I'm hurting. Other times I'm really cold and I just want to finish this swim and get out and get warm. But yes, I talk to myself, and those are just the valleys that you naturally go through. I go through the entire range of emotions during swims. I get very angry at people for no reason on the boat, and then I pass through that, and I'm happy again, and then uh, whatever emotion you may have, I experience it.
wow, golly. Um, what do you? What do you? You know, I gotta ask you this too because it's in my mind. How? What do you do? I mean, like, how do you eat? I mean, what kind of food? I mean, what do you like?
Things that are very easily digested. A lot of times, what I have done in addition to my bottle with its liquid mix, we've
Yeah.
created a second bottle with Gerber baby oatmeal cereal and a little bit
Oh,
of maybe skim milk and water. And it's a very liquidy, it's a little bit thick, but it's still liquidy. And I can down that. And it's a little more long lasting carbohydrate and it settles in my stomach and just gives me a little bit of fuel.
fuel.
But the
Okay.
worst
Okay.
part of the swim is burning through all of my carbohydrate stores. And then, generally, between about the fifth and sixth hour, I go through a bad patch for 30 minutes or so while my body switches over to body fat and I
Mm,
start burning body fat.
mm. Wow, this is some serious stuff right here.
It's some serious stuff. Yeah. You know, a lot of these swims, if you 25-mile swim, which is what I just did the end of May, it's 25 miles. You translate that into running terms, and that's a little bit over 100 miles of running. So that's how you can correlate it. So it's four marathons back to back to back
Wow.
to back.
Wow, you're incredible. I don't know how you do it. Um, Alicia says, "What is water good for? A therapy? Is it-
It is. It is. And it's an area that I would hope to see more of in coming years with physical therapists incorporating the water. That's how I recovered from these rotator cuff surgeries. I took all of my physical therapy, in addition to doing it on land with a PT, I
Mhm.
did it in the water on my own. And what I did was I removed gravity and I substituted buoyancy. So a lot of things that were difficult on land became very easy in the water because I was so buoyant. I just
Mm,
go into the deep end of the pool and sink underwater and do whatever I needed to do.
mm. You're awesome. You're something else. I mean, you are built for the water. Water. You know, it's just like me. I'm built for the show. So, no, I'm just-
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm very, very small for a marathon swimmer. I'm 5'4", about 130, 132 pounds, and that's really tiny in the marathon swimming world. These are big people and big women. They've got me in many cases by 20 to 100 pounds, which is why they can handle colder water than I can. I've learned to function in cold water. I don't like it. I accept it. I do it. But
Mm,
there are some swims that, it would be a real stretch for me because I don't carry that body mass. And
right.
quite honestly, my lifestyle is not conducive to it. I can't slap on 30 pounds to go do a swim and burst out of all my clothes. I don't have anything to wear for shows. I'll never get that 30 pounds off. It's just that's where vocation and avocation collide and don't necessarily mesh so well.
Right. I want to say I got some people. I got some more people. I didn't mean to
Oh,
cut you off,
okay.
but these guys are from the UK. Dan Hewitt. Dan Hewitt was on. He is a professional broadcaster and talk show host over in the UK. He is here with me right now. Stephen Covell out of the UK. Hello. Want to say hello to him. He owns the BWTV boxing page over in the UK. So I want to say hello to everybody that is here. I don't want to overlook anyone, and I thank y'all for being a part of the program today as we talk to this super marathon swimmer um, all the way from Charleston, South Carolina. And it is wonderful, beautiful day here. Of course, I'm in North Carolina, so I'm next door to you. I can reach out and touch you. Hello. But great. You know, you're super. You know, we don't get a lot of swimmers on here. You're the very first And we are tremendously happy to have you on and to be able to broadcast this not only on Facebook but also into YouTube as we speak. Um, what's the plans for you? Uh, the next month or so. What's your plans?
Well, the plans are just getting over this most recent swim in the Sea of Galilee. My body is now older and it needs a little more rest and recuperation. So I'm laying low this summer and taking some well deserved time off. Still swimming, but not to the intensity that I usually do. And I'll start ratcheting up in the fall. I truly don't know what is next. I've got an idea, and it may involve something in the UK and probably
Okay.
going back to the cold water. So UK guys, I may just show up in your turf.
But y'all heard it right here. Live on the Y'all People Show in conjunction with Shay York Productions. Y'all heard it right here. Wow, it's been a great show today, and you talked a lot. You explained to us a lot. How you started. In all the you've been all over. I can't go into how many places I couldn't even read all those places, but you are strong. You are dedicated. You're a musician. And you still got your family life. That in itself is a blessing. And I am impressed. I'm glad that, and hold up, I got to say this. I got to say this because he probably watching and I don't know it. Dennis Lane, want to say hello to you, my friend. I thank Dennis. I met him about me and Jay met him about 2 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. And he said, "Look, I got somebody." I said, "Bring her on." And I said, "I'm going to thank Dennis Lane. He was a great guy and superb person." And
Well, not to interrupt you, but Dennis really, really helped me with my head. He's the one who taught me how to accept the work that needs to be done. And the one thing he said to me is the body never knows as how long you've been in the water unless you tell it. And I took those things to heart and they helped me tremendously. So big shout out to Dennis.
yeah, big shout out to Dennis, tremendous guy. And I want to shout out to everybody. Now, if I didn't call everybody out today, please forgive me. Because I'm trying to run two machines and my eye only got two eyeballs, so I only can see so much. But I am honored to have you on the program, and you are the very first swimmer. And we've been doing this thing for almost 3 years, me and Jay, and you're the first. And hopefully you won't be the last, and hopefully you'll come back on the show again.
Oh,
Uh,
I'd
you know,
love to. I'd
you know,
love to.
and,
As a matter of fact, I'm trying to compile all these stories, from my public service, my time on city council, and stories with the harp, and all these swim stories. Compile it all into book form. But I need an editor. I need somebody to keep me straight.
oh
So
yeah,
that's a task that I need to get serious about.
right, right. Okay, here we go. Any questions that you may want to ask me? Any questions that you may want to ask me?
Me?
Yeah. Any
Oh,
questions that you may want to ask me?
no, I just think you have a fabulous show, and it's just been such an honor to be a guest on your show. Um, you're very well connected in the boxing and fighting world. Actually, my dad was a boxing champ in his
Oh,
younger days out of Pittsburgh.
okay.
Pittsburgh's put out some pretty good people.
Yes, they have. They really
So
have.
yeah, no. As a matter of fact, I had boxing gloves for Christmas one year. My brother and I used to pummel each other, but
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
anyhow,
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. And we're glad to have you on. I thank Dennis again, and of course Jay. We all put it all together for you, and it's been a really exciting to listen to what you have done and have accomplished, and what you went through to get to where you are now. And sometimes it's just like everybody's got a story to tell, and you got one, and we heard it, and we wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear it, and the people wanted to hear it, and uh, you know, you've been a part of the Carolinas. I definitely wanted to hear it, but yeah, I thank you. I thank you for coming on the show, and I thank you for being a part and expressing and telling us about marathon, because I didn't I'm like, man, I want to hear this stuff. lady out there swimming in the ocean stuff. I want to hear it. But like I said, you got no questions for me. I think everybody done ran it down to you. So look, I'm glad to have you on the show. Hope to have you back on again soon. Before the end of the year's out, we can talk a little
absolutely.
bit more.
Absolutely, I'd love to. There aren't many of us out there, and really very, very few true marathon swimmers in the Carolinas.
Right,
So,
you're exactly right.
so I spend a lot of solo time.
One last question, and I think it's coming from Alicia. She said, "Is something that you want to accomplish in your life that you haven't accomplished yet?"
I want to do a few more swims before my body says, please stop. So just stay healthy. That's the biggest thing that I want to accomplish, is simply to stay healthy.
Okay, great. Stay healthy, and that's all. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah,
is to stay
that's
healthy.
right. That's right.
As a human being, and that was well put. All right. If nothing more, look, I'm glad to have you on. Hope to see you again. We appreciate you coming on, and from me and Jay, we thank you.
Thank you. What a great session, and it's been my honor.
Thank you. We'll see you next time. You have a good
All righty.
All right now.
Bye.
All right, there we go, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us. That was truly something different for the program, and I want to thank y'all. We're coming back Thursday. We'll see you Thursday with Sky Watley, Southern Soul artist. We're going to talk with him. He's got a new single out. They Changed Me. We'll talk with Southern Soul, still rocking. We love the Southern Soul. We rocking with the Southern Soul. We'll see y'all Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the D.HALL People Show. Big shouts out to Dennis Lane. I got to shout him out one more time. My man, me and Jay met him, and I've been knowing him ever since down out of Newbern, North Carolina. And I want to say hello to him because he turned me on to her. I've got her on my show. I thank y'all. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see you next time.
You are in the mix with D.HALL and the People's Show.
You got it locked with D.HALL on the weekend, baby. Ready?
Coming to us out of studio today in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina. He stands next to his world-famous producer, Jay York. He is the number one, undisputed, top talk show host on the air today. The voice of the People Show. Ladies and gentlemen, here is D.HALL.
Jay York production.